And hello again, dear one, Reverend Robert, hiding behind the overlay with you. How you doing today? It's a Tuesday, 10 a.m. on the Mountain Time Zone, and that does mean it is time for the Growing Edge. Opportunity to come together once a week and share a bit about, the principles and the practices, as the placard there says. A weekly look at the practices and processes of living in oneness. And what I recognize is that practice and that process takes a lot of unique and interesting turns sometimes. And there are opportunities like the puppy dogs barking in the background, which I imagine you can hear at this moment. That just, it's part of living. It's part of life. It's part of nature. Right. And for those that might be joining us for the first time, the title of this program, The Growing Edge, is born from my experience and interpretation with the visioning process. The life visioning process originated and brought forth by Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and a staple spiritual practice of Centers for Spiritual Living, and my primary. I can't say primary because prayer, meditation, visioning, it's all a mix of things, movement, labyrinths. It's all journaling. It's all a mix of things that I use, but it's one of my favorites. Let's put it that way. In my human biasness, in my humanness, and my biases around being human, it's the practice I like the most. So the growing edge is really about being consciously aware that we cannot remain stuck. We are either growing, living, or we're dying. There is no stuckness in nature. And on this program, I often use plants because plants are just the greatest example in so many ways of that growing edge. Interestingly enough, a plant that I have shared with you in previous episodes, a bamboo plant that I have talked about, I just noticed in the last couple of days has a brand new shoot coming out right there. Now I'll let you go back and look for the previous episodes where we share that, but the plant, that new shoot, represents not the immediacy of it, but that represents that there's been a consciousness of growth going on there. And that consciousness, that little piece right there, represents a different consciousness, a slightly different consciousness, a new aspect of understanding our own journey. And I have countless plants where I can show you, new growth and new things happening. And but the important point is that we're always remembering, in this thing called life, in this experience of life that we're living, we're growing or we're not. And if we're not growing, then we might be dying. And that's okay too. There's nothing unhealthy or unnatural about that. And I'm choosing, I want to live and grow and expand and journey together with so many of you in this thing called life. So what's been coming forward, right? And actually it hasn't even really been coming forward, because recently I shared with you, last week actually, if you watch this program, last week I shared with you what's been happening with my practice of the Abundance book by John Randolph Price and his 40-day prosperity, abundance prosperity plan, I guess is what he calls it. And the 40-day prosperity plan. And over the last week, and this is one of those programs that if you read the statement of the day and then you journal about it, and if you miss a day, you got to go back to the beginning and start again and try to get to 40 days. And And I've never really been one of those ones about penalizing people for missing a day. If you miss a day and you make it up, okay, cool. If you miss a day and you don't, and you just start right where you are the next day, that's okay too. Because for me, this isn't about some archaic set of, if you don't do this just perfectly, it's not going to work. That's hocus pocus. The process behind this book is for us to raise our consciousness, to continually and consistently increase our consciousness. Now, I'm pretty sure that when John Randolph Price wrote the book and created this process, he didn't think that people would go a whole year of the practice and go far beyond, almost 10 times beyond what he challenged people to. So interestingly enough, on Sunday this past week was the 1 year for me, and this was the statement we got to work with. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. And then in my practice, I spend the next 10 or 15 minutes journaling, filling a page. And I think I may have shown you this prior, but this is, what my journal looks like for John Randolph Price. And so it takes, and not quite a quarter of a page, maybe a third of the page to get to the statement written out. And then I allow the divine to remind me of my own ability, my own truth, and affirm and reaffirm in my own words and in my own life. So if you miss a day, I'm not the guy that hit you over the knuckles with a ruler because you didn't quite do your homework. I don't believe anybody ever really, truly desire to learn and therefore grow through punishment or guilt. I think we grow through our natural desire to grow. And so I put out a post the other day about the abundance book and about my 1 year experience, and told people that, hey, if you want to contact me, and we'll continue the process. I don't see any reason to stop after 1 year. I haven't stopped after 1 year. It was a couple days ago that I'm still going. So no big deal there as far as that's good. I'm going to keep going. I think we can go to 750, 800, 900, 1,000 days. What happens when you get to 1,000 days? In succession or not? What happens when you get to 1,000 days of actually just continuously reminding yourself and allowing yourself to be reminded of the infinite prosperity and abundance that is yours and that is available to you in any moment and that is continually flowing through to you? Heck, what if you only did 50? What if you did 100? The numbers matter not. The practice is to be in that place where we have, well, in this case, consistency. It's a 10-day cycle. You will get to the point where you know what these are, where you're just like, oh, day 5, money is not my supply. Yeah, I love this one. I love this one. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. And so in all of this, I started a Facebook group. Yeah, I know. I started another Facebook group. What am I thinking? But this is not gonna be like one of the big Facebook groups. This is gonna be a smaller Facebook group. It's gonna be a group specifically to come together once a week. The group is available all the time, and it's going to be available to people that express an interest in practicing this program specifically, that express an interest and a desire to embark upon however many days in a row, how many different times you want to start or stop, how many different days you want to accumulate in your practice. It's a support group within Facebook to support anybody that wants to be on this John Randolph Price journey. There it is. If you'd like to be, drop a comment, let me know, hit me in a private message, send an email to me, info@ntmedia.org, wherever it might be. Let me know, and I'll add you into the Facebook group. And then the idea is I'm going to be building a series of memes that match the different days, like this one. And if you would like to, and I'll post those. So on day one, I'll post day one. And we're going to use this coming Saturday, January 17th, as our day one. So this coming Saturday is going to be our day one, and we'll post day one meme. And then every day forward, we'll post 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll repeat. And what I think will be really fun is it's not hard to create a different background. So if you'd like to create a background for a series of days, let's say 11 through 20 or beyond, then do it. Make it happen. Put it in a PowerPoint file, or if you use LibreOffice or any of the presentation programs, if you use an open source office programs, I use LibreOffice. I love it. Send me the, let me know. I can, if you don't already have access to the Google Drive, let me know. I'll get you access to a drive where you can drop the file, and we'll create it. Doesn't take long. We'll put the words on top, and boom, there you go. And you can create from that, or together we can create from that a series of slides that we'll share in the group. And then I'm looking at a time where once a week we can come together live and have a conversation, where we can come together live and discuss. And what I love about the nature of this process is, because we're working with a 7-day week and a 10-day process, or 40-day process, but a 10-day rotation, we'll over time, we will work through each of the different days, each of the different affirmations, each of the different principles, and be able to have a discussion about that specific principle. And we're going to do it most likely in a Zoom room. So it's private, so that it's not a broadcast. We could do it in a private broadcast that nobody else could see, and we could all hang out here in StreamYard, but it's just as easy to do it in Zoom at that point. And so we'll do that. And I'm looking at a time, most likely it's going to be on a Tuesday. It might be Tuesdays midday. I don't know. Might be Tuesdays right after this. I don't know. I'm looking at it. But I love the idea of being able to say there is a place where throughout the week, if you forget, okay, so you're out on vacation and you didn't take your journal and your book, but you got your phone so you can get to the group, and you can always create a voice memo. So you can always get to a point where you could read the affirmation and then create for yourself a voice memo. And there's no cost to this. I'm not saying you got to pay me anything to do this. If you'd like to make a donation to the network, that's always greatly appreciated, and the network will say thank you for that. And this is a growing edge. It's a piece for me that is a natural extension of the practice I have built. Now, I didn't create the practice. I didn't start the practice, as far as I'm not the first person to do it. And there are probably most likely people out there that have gone a year, that have done this for 365 days before or longer. And there are most likely people out there that are in a long-term relationship with this process and have lost track of how many days they've done, or are over the 1,000-day mark. And if you're one of those people, or one of those people, please reach out to me and let me know. If you've got 1,000 days of John Randolph Price under your belt, I would love to have a conversation, because I think you would add so much to what we can do as a community. I'm pretty clear that the way forward is community, collective consciousness. I can do my consciousness. You can do your consciousness. And that's all well and good. And that's great. And that's all necessary. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying any of that. I'm just saying that at a certain point, the journey, I believe, the growing edge becomes about doing this in a collective way so that we amplify our efforts. Because where one or more are gathered, right, there is community, there is God. Oftentimes there's politics, but we'll talk about that another time. But where one or more are gathered, there we are. There I am. There it is. There's the one. And we can co-create anything. Intentional community, organizations, churches, nonprofits, for-profits, healings of consciousness, healings of the physical form. There are no limits to how we as individuals may use the power of the divine, the co-creative nature of the divine. And we speak about this in different ways, and my colleagues and and I do apologize for whatever is causing that autofocus to seem to go in and out against the lights today. We find that place, well, I believe, I guess the best way to say it is, and I never remember the author's name or how to pronounce it properly, and so I always just paraphrase the idea that it just becomes too painful to remain in the space that we are, to remain in the bud that we are, and we must bloom. The bud cannot hold that shape. And each one of us gets to a point where we have to evolve and expand and blossom that shape, that whatever it is in our lives. Whether that's a new job, whether it's a different relationship or a new home or becoming part of a new community or launching a new product or a new program or a new class or a new whatever. Wherever we are on our journey, I believe we're truly in two places. We're in the place of the divine, and we're in the place of the human. Both human and divine, the both and of life. Not the, and you've heard me speak of that. There is always the both and, that you get what's necessary for you and I can have what's necessary for me. We both may prosper. All participants are being lifted up by every one of us clearing out the old consciousness, coming to a greater understanding, a greater faith, a greater realization of our truth, of who we have come here to be. So it's that both and, but it's more, because it's both being able to say, I can see beyond the limited humanness of what's going on in my life. But that doesn't mean that I get to skip it. I don't get to fast forward past it. I have to live through it. And so therefore I have to turn to what I know has worked over time, the spiritual practices that have worked when things look the darkest, when things don't seem to be going right, when I would much rather hit a fast forward button. Adam Sandler did a great movie called Click. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. There's a powerful, powerful message at the heart of that. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, just hit mute for a minute. Every time he skips over a portion of his life, the magic clicker allows him to skip over and fast forward to the next chapter of his life. Sort of like you're playing a DVD and you don't want to watch the scene you're on, you just skip to the next scene. I know for some of us, DVDs seem like forever ago, right? Some might be saying, what's a DVD? No matter what's going on in our lives, the humanness we have within us, and we are equally as spiritual as we are human. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people out there that would put their thumb on the scale of the human side and do not appear to be very spiritual at all. Do not appear to be very enlightened at all. Doesn't mean they're not God. Doesn't mean they're not trying. Doesn't mean they're not perfect. Doesn't mean they're not working towards it. They may not want to. They may be aware of something and want to hold on to their old past horrendous limiting beliefs, harmful beliefs. And it's easy to get pulled into that in the human realm sometimes. And here's the cool part. When that happens, okay, double up on your spiritual practice. Take an extra 10 minutes to clear your head. Go have an extra cup of coffee. Take a walk around the block. Be in the practice of turning and saying, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to allow myself to go down the road of limitation. I'm not going to allow myself to be detoured by what is not true, by anything that appears to be tearing something down rather than building something up. Now, I understand there are times when things must be torn down. When there are times when buildings must be destroyed to make way, not just for growth, but for safety. The building in Florida is a great example. We could have evacuated that. We could have looked at that differently. That building was going to come down. If it needed to come down, it could have come down in a safer manner, in a safe way. Every time, and that happens in our own lives, where suddenly, seemingly, holy schnugga, everything just went, I'm feeling pretty lucky to be alive. That happens for all of us. Question is, do we stay there and spend the next 10 years evaluating what happened and or do we continue our practice and move ourselves forward? I say move forward. It doesn't mean we don't take time to mourn those that have passed or made a transition. It doesn't mean we don't take time to really be with what's going on in our lives and allow a trained professional, spiritual, mental, emotional, to guide us through physical, to guide us through the challenges of our lives and into those next chapters, to not skip what's going on, what we're doing, what's happening right now, but to stay fully embodied to this journey is my enlightenment. And the destination is the journey. And that while I could go live on a mountaintop and embrace my spiritual side without distraction, and the human must also be experienced. So the growing edge is how to balance that, right? The growing edge is, and not only how to balance that, but how to use each. How to use the demonstrations of growth, the new shoots that are popping up to remind me the human self that this is all working. The opportunities to utilize the spiritual aspects of prayer and meditation and visioning to remind the human self that there's something bigger going on, something grander going on. And we need the human self to experience through all of that. Because the vision could not be revealed without a set of hands to do the work. Whatever vision you're holding right now, whatever grand and glorious dream you've overheld, I'm inviting you to get to work on that. Doing a little something today. I'm doing something on my dream every day. Every day. Every day. 1,000 days, 10,000 days. And if you miss a day, be gentle with yourself. If you miss a day, be gentle. If you skip a day, be gentle. If you skip a day and then miss a day, let's have a conversation. If you skip 2 days in a row, then let's have a conversation. If you miss 2 days in a row, then let's have a conversation. And that's what this group is about. And that's what that Facebook group is about. Is providing us a place to turn and as a community say, hey guys, damn, I missed yesterday. Somebody share a word or whatever. Or just to find the memes and find the quotes, the affirmation. If you'd like to be a part of this, again, get in touch with me. We'll be talking more and more about this. And it's going to be open. Anybody can join on any day, on any time. And I think we'll probably have, I start on day 1. But if you want to join and start on day 5, that's cool too. Every day is the perfect day to grow. That's, to me, I might have to transcend what feels like not enough water or not enough air, or I might have to transcend what feels like not enough light to remind myself that no matter what, the sun's always up there shining somewhere. The vision's always being cast somewhere. The vision is always there, inviting each of us to be a part of it all, to fulfill our dreams, to fulfill our lives, to love, all of it. I'm feeling like I want to speak a word here. And so if you're with me and feeling safe, I invite you to close your eyes and just come into that place of knowing there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that is moving and breathing and having its being as all of life. One self-existent cause that is forever taking on form and abandoning that form in order to take on new form. The oneness that is my life, that is all life. Perfect, whole, complete, nothing missing, nothing absent. And so I know that the gifts and the skills and the talents that each one brings to this thing called life are absolutely necessary for humanity's evolution. My voice, your voice, the voice of each and every one, absolutely necessary to the evolution of human existence, experience, understanding, to human consciousness. And that is the bridge. That is where we traverse, we transcend the divide, the chasm between spiritual and human, experiencing both equally in each moment, in exact measure. And sometimes it's a little more spiritual, and sometimes it's a little more human. And as that equilibrium reveals itself, we find that we have and we are everything necessary for the fulfillment of our grand vision on this planet in exact measure, exactly as necessary, exactly when necessary. In exact measure, all the good comes into our lives as we say yes to it, as we are open to it, as we are affirming of it. See, this good cannot pass through a closed door. The heart must be open, the mind must be receptive, the body must be ready to say yes and allow all this good to flow. I am thrilled to just feel that growth, that vibration of growth, saying yes to the new, to the next, to God, to everything. So I am thrilled and ready for what this day holds, what this day is, for how I get to show up in it all. Life is good. I am grateful. I release this word into the law and let it be. And so it is. So it is. Thank you for being with us today, dear ones. Thank you for being with me. I'm Rev Robert. This is The Growing Edge. I've lost my schedule. Here it is. What's going on today? I know Rev Z and I will be back. Yes, I think that's the next thing on our schedule is 2 o'clock today. Rev Z and I will be back for New Thought Today, and we're going to have a great conversation. The question is, what is the science of mind? 2 o'clock today, New Thought Media Network. I hope you'll enjoy us. Also, do check out this coming Saturday morning. I am the featured speaker on our Science of Mind and Spirit lecture series. You see our whole lineup of fabulous speakers there. I am the featured speaker this week, and the topic is Finding the Christ. It is the second to last chapter in the Science of Mind textbook. So this week, Finding the Christ with me. Next week is Immortality, and that is going to be with Dr. Tracy Brown, religious science practitioner. And so I trust you'll join us for that as well. So I'm going to get out of here for now, let you get back into your day. We look forward to seeing you again soon here on the New Thought Media Network. Thanks for being with us. Until then, peace.